Bruh. Bruh. These are the kinds of episodes that make me so glad that I started doing live reactions on my Patreon, because throughout watching this week's episode of Blue Lock, I was completely wrong. I thought to myself, I was getting upset with Raichi, man, because when you have someone like one who got 3 goals, even if they're responsible for the opponent side getting 3 goals on you, when you're the man getting 3 goals, it doesn't, the criticisms doesn't work. I was like, listen, Bakugo, you're way too angry for your own good. You can't talk to my boy like that. He's arguably the biggest team player and is literally your chance at victory. And then they goddamn sucker punch you with, I guess I overlooked it. Didn't even cross my mind that at some point, a rule that was established early on could come to bite this team in the ass. And, to have someone who was that strong of a team player, and seriously, there was no stronger of a team player than the man who ended up stabbing them all in the back. And it all comes down to a pretty believable reason, and in the context of Blue Lock, he made probably the right call. Now, we know our team's gotta end up winning, right? Because otherwise they would be removed from the equation, and then therefore the show would be essentially over unless they wanted to switch perspectives, which seems very, very unlikely. But I think in the moment, when you look at it as the team we'll have to go up against should we win here, defeated the team that we barely won against 8-0. So I decided this would be the moment where I would pull the rug from under your feet and I would get 3 goals, because the highest scoring player, even if your team fails, would be able to progress in elimination. So by getting 3 goals and then relaying all the information to this team, which their signature weapon are these brothers. So together they're seemingly unstoppable. Split them apart and obviously you can do a lot of crazy things. But to see the episode go in that direction, the concept of backstabbing and the concept of egos getting kind of butting heads, right? We were at a pretty good stage. They came off of a W. Asagi did some crazy shit. The team seemingly was doing well. They reformed, they regrouped. Instead of switching every 10 minutes, we'd have 3 sections of players, right? 3 people would work together to utilize their weapons correctly. And then therefore, we'd be a lot more synchronized. We'd have a lot more potential to not screw up. And within such a quick matter of moments, they got so screwed over. And I don't know what would happen, because should they get eliminated, Quan would be able to proceed forward, and I would assume probably with that team would be the way it would work out, or maybe he would be by himself. I don't know how it would work. Either way, just imagine a situation where this works out for him. He's going to be the biggest target because people would realize you can't trust him, and then therefore they wouldn't work with his plans to give him moments and times to shine. So temporarily it boosts him, but I think in the long term it probably does worse for him in the grand scheme of Blue Lock. But at the same time, there's so much uncertainties you don't quite know. But here's the thing. Should they win, does he get eliminated with this green team, or does he win because he's still a part of them? Because right now, he's playing with the other team. He's sabotaging his own team, so I'm kind of conflicted on where this would lie. I would think he would still be a part of their team, and should they win, I imagine my boy Jinpachi would keep him around in the team for the chaos. But at the same time, I could also kind of see him getting eliminated with this team, and obviously, please no spoilers, I'm excited to see the direction they'll go with this, but this left me shook, man, because what I thought was happening was, they were going to build up, and it would just simply be, he messed up, and rather than him being the signature, our boy with the bad knee who's getting criticized on the playing field right now, he would be the key player that would win the game. It wouldn't be our boy, Asagi, he had his moment, but he still needs to refine that craft to be able to smell the goal on command rather than it happening naturally. Instead, they backstab you with betrayal to then set in motion that he probably still will be the key, and, the feeling of failure, the feeling of one wrong step, they definitely highlight in this episode one wrong step with the knee, and obviously it could be broken for good. But it's an episode that I can't believe they found a way to top the W, to top that amazing legendary win last week, and they did it in a way that makes me feel so crushed and so betrayed, but I can't help but say, if this isn't what Blue Lock is supposed to be, I don't know what is. And something I've complimented is the concept of characters growing stronger together, but eventually there's going to come a point where only one can be left standing, and Batra and Asagi, eventually that would have to happen, but to see it, the character who I think if you were to ask anyone who's been watching Blue Lock, who's probably the one character who has the team's best interest in heart, it's probably the guy who just stabbed everyone in the back. And I don't know. I don't know where we go, but I'm excited to see. Now, beyond just the amazing story beats and character motivations, which was incredible, I still have to say the production of this show is insanely well done. They have such fun with the visual flair. The initial shot of the brothers when they're kind of like they kind of like zoom in and get rid of them real quick to show you how disorienting and how hard it is to keep track of them. There's so many really great perspectives of goals and wider shots, and just they have such fun with the visual flair, but it's the background music that really keeps me invested through and through, because there is such a variety. There's some twangy songs, there's more intense kind of electric upbeat songs, and the way they constantly bounce around the soundtrack in this show as the matches progress, it makes you feel energized or dreadful alongside those characters. And something I think Blue Lock does better, and I might even argue maybe some of the best, if not the best, in the sports anime genre, is the use of silly. Now, this show is serious. It is. There's serious character motivations, but then there's images like this, and you laugh at them because they're goofy. You're like, where'd this Fire Force looking character come from? And the thing I like about this show above a lot of sports series is I'm not a sports guy. So if the show makes me care about the sport and the characters, you have a story that I'm going to watch. But often in these types of shows, there's these dry moments, these boring moments where the characters don't look goofy, the characters don't look silly, or just the general flair of the show isn't maybe as anime as it could be to keep people like me engaged while some of the slower stuff is happening. So when I see character designs like these, even if it's not necessarily content I'm usually interested in, it's hard not to be glued to the screen when you have silly character designs, intense character designs, funny moments, intense moments mixed into one beautiful package known as the Blue Lock experience. And that's why I love this show so much. Like, seriously, we are 6 episodes into this, and I'm still saying this might be my favorite sports anime ever. And I mean, it can change. I'm not saying it can't change. I'm just saying the amount of passion I feel for this show so far, the fact that it's not a 12 episode or a 13 episode season, the fact that we got a 2-core back to back, and the fact that seemingly the production is holding strong. Usually I'm more weary about 2-core productions because typically, you start seeing dips around this point, and knowing that there's 24 weeks of a show like this, you just expect a lot of production issues. But there's something about Blue Lock that is setting an extremely high bar that future sports series are going to have to live up to if they don't want to feel like a downgraded version of the Blue Lock experience. But insane, mind blown. I don't know where we go from here, but that's part of the insane fun that, it is about watching this show, right? But of course, I'll pass the torch over to everyone. Thoughts and feelings and theories, of course, if you got any, especially after the ending of this episode. Do let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. You can also support the Patreon. Like I said, full live reaction available to today's episode. Definitely caught me by surprise. And you can also get video shoutouts like one individual's getting right now. Now, usually I try to pronounce this, even if I fumble it, but I cannot say it. So I'm going to let Google try to say it for me, but just know I appreciate the support. So, thank you. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.